Uncanny X-Men 185 begins with the government having a meeting about Rogue. Henry Gyrich gives a rundown of her powers and highlights her previous affiliation with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. He speculates that she still might be in cahoots with them and blames her for a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent's death. He plans to use Forge's power neutralizer to strip her of her powers, but Raven Darkholme barges in and demands that they give her back the weapon. She claims it's still a prototype and it's not ready to be used in the field. Val Cooper tries to calm her down, and Raven is shocked that Val's on Henry's side. Raven threatens to protest, but Val says the order has come from the president himself. At the mansion, Professor X is having a session with Rachel when Storm interrupts them. She informs the professor that Rogue has cleaned out all of her belongings and that she has left the mansion. She worries that Rogue's power might be driving her crazy, so she and the professor go to use Cerebro to try and track her down. Rachel laments how Rogue isn't an X-Man in her timeline, and she decides to call Cyclops, who's her father in the future, but she's overcome with emotion when he picks up, and she can't bring herself to say a single word. Mystique meets with Destiny and tells her what the government has planned for Rogue. She thinks that depowering Rogue might help reconcile their relationship, but Destiny urges Mystique to consider the consequences of that. Mystique implores Destiny to foretell the future and give her the best possible course of action to take, but something is muddling Destiny's precognitive abilities, and she tells Mystique to follow her heart instead. The government is en route to tracking down Rogue as Mystique and her Raven Darkholme guys contacts Forge to tell him about the government's plan. He's furious at the neutralizers being used without his consent, especially since it hasn't been tested yet, and he runs off to his jet to put a stop to it. Rogue is swimming in her hometown of Mississippi. She puts on a show for some sailors and catches some rays when Storm suddenly shows up. They chat about Rogue's past, and Rogue talks about the first time her powers manifested while kissing Cody. They laugh about how Storm threatened to quit the team the day Professor X agreed to take Rogue in, and then Rogue doubles down on how dangerous she still is and denounces what she did to Carol. She worries that she isn't making any progress in controlling her powers, but Storm trusts her and offers to be a test subject. Rogue is hesitant, but she agrees, and she takes Storm's hand. Storm passes out, and Rogue absorbs her power and psyche. She sees the beauty of the Earth through Storm's eyes and has some fun experimenting with the weather. She's tempted to take a little bit more power while Storm is incapacitated, but then chastises herself for even thinking about it. She's suddenly attacked by some federal officers. The blast does a number on her, and she tries to fly away to divert their attention from Storm, but her powers are acting wonky. The government follows her and blasts the neutralizer. Rogue evades them and unleashes Storm's wind power to protect herself. Her winds put the tugboat from earlier in danger, and she realizes the storm that she conjured up is growing out of control. She flies up to try and stop it, but she's unable to control the weather until Storm revives and helps her. Storm calms the elements, and together she and Rogue pull the tugboat to safety. Storm tells Rogue that the government thinks she killed a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, but Rogue says that wasn't her. Gyrich sets the neutralizer to full power, and he goes to shoot Rogue while she's distracted, but Forge tackles him while he shoots, and the blast hits Storm instead. Storm is consumed in the neutralizer's energy as the tugboat behind them explodes and everyone falls into the water. Forge dives in to save her, and he berates Gyrich for using the untested neutralizer on Storm and stripping her of her powers. Elsewhere, the dire Wraiths that are invading Earth spy on Forge and determine that his neutralizer weapon is a threat to them and that he and it must both be destroyed. Well, that's it for this issue. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my review video where I'll go in depth about what I thought of this book. You can follow me on my social media for all sorts of fun X content, and check out my website, greatxmentations.com, for blog posts and random news articles. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to come on back for more Great X-Mentations.